President Muhammad Buhari in Daura, Katsina State, ahead of general elections, commends resilience of Nigerians as they go to the polls in few hours. Independent National Electoral Commission affirms preparedness to conduct smooth elections nationwide this Saturday. And Acting Inspector General of Police assures electorate of safety before, during and after elections, says hard times await snatches of ballot boxes. At last, candidates from the APC in Zamfara State have made it to the 2019 general elections as INEC and the police perfect all arrangements for the elections. The readiness of the two agencies was made known at the final press briefing of the INEC ahead of the polls. Mayor Ogidi reports.
80,000 vehicles, 996 speedboats, and aircrafts will be on election duty to shuttle the 119,973 polling units, as well as the 825,543 personnel, as INEC is sufficiently equipped to execute the polls February 23rd, being contested by 6,657 candidates in 3 categories.
Only INEC is empowered by law to declare election results. I urge everyone to refrain from issuing any result.
While 3 security personnel to man each polling unit, the tactical unit of the Nigerian police force will be around to forestall any violence, and movement will be restricted between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. on election day. However, for those who may attempt to snatch ballot boxes,
we will work with the INEC officials to apprehend the culprits, and we've set up an investigative team led by our Commissioner of Police in charge of legal to investigate such cases and prosecute them.
On the issue of alleged arrest of candidates participating in the elections in Kwara and Kano states,
it's not just because he belongs to a political party or is a candidate for election that he was arrested. No, it's just because of the murder that took place. 2 people were killed in Kwara. In the same way in Kano,
the Zamfara State chapter of the APC narrowly got admitted to participate in the elections as Court of Appeal in Abuja rules in the party's favor.
It's a very clear-cut, straightforward judgment. We have since complied, and we have also issued a statement. So the APC candidates for the National Assembly elections will be on the ballot in Zamfara State, and also they will be on the ballot in Zamfara State for the governorship and state assembly elections.
In politics, every second counts, and everyone is keeping vigil to 8 a.m. February 23rd to cast the ballot, all things being equal. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
Nigerians have been commended for the way they have dealt with the postponement of the 2019 general elections and have been urged to demonstrate this level of maturity as they go to the polls this Saturday. Dennis Adegunloye reports that former Liberian President and head of the ECOWAS Election Observer Mission, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who gave the commendation, also reserved special mention for the Independent National Electoral Commission for regularly keeping the public updated in effort at addressing challenges that led to the postponement.
We extend thanks, admiration, and gratitude to the Nigerian people for their patience in the face of the last-minute interruptions to their lives. We have watched the progress of INEC over the past week, working together with domestic and international partners in addressing the logistical and technical challenges. We are pleased that these operational constraints have been significantly addressed thus creating a conducive atmosphere for tomorrow's general elections.
And Nigeria must take advantage of its diversity as her strength by living together in peace, irrespective of religious and ethnic differences, especially as they set to vote in the general elections. United Arab Emirates Ambassador to Nigeria, Fahad Mohammed Ubaid Al-Tafaq, said this when he visited the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja Diocese, John Cardinal Onaikan, in Abuja. Adebola Brucelin Sandy reports.
Nigeria, like the United Arab Emirates, has two major religions, Christianity and Islam. The ambassador is in the Catholic Pro Cathedral to strengthen the bond between his country and Nigeria.
Dialogue.
Ambassador Fahad Mohammed Ubaid Al-Tafaq said religious tolerance is the key to peaceful coexistence, which will in turn translate into national development, and that the United Arab Emirates has declared 2019 the year of religious tolerance.
We know that the Nigerian people are full of hope, are full of determination, and they would like to see a prosperous and bright future.
We should go beyond tolerance to mutual acceptance and mutual respect.
And on the fight against corruption, the diplomat affirmed that his country has ratified agreement with Nigeria, which was facilitated by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2016.
They are legally binding, and we are considering Nigeria as a friend, as a colleague, and we will definitely be always cooperating.
He also urged Nigerians to conduct themselves peacefully during and after the 2019 general elections.
We hope that the elections are fair, credible and safe for Nigerians, because they deserve a bright future and they deserve good elections.
Have a good reason for voting for whomever you are voting. And after voting, be gentle.
The United Arab Emirates has about 70 worship places and calls the country a land of God where religion are practiced freely. These analysts believe has helped them to turn deserts to a polished garden. Adebola Brucelin Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola. Now, reports from the presidency says President Muhammadu Buhari is in his ancestral home, Daura, in Katsina State, ahead of the rescheduled presidential and National Assembly elections. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the Nigerian leader is in high spirit.
The Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft conveying President Muhammadu Buhari touched down at Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, Katsina, at about 3:45 Friday afternoon. On hand to receive the president, accompanied by his wife Aisha, was a high-powered Katsina State government delegation led by Governor Aminu Bello Masari. Also at the airport were the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, members of the National and Katsina State Assemblies, as well as other personalities from all walks of life. President Buhari then proceeded to the ancient town of Daura by chopper, where he was also given a rousing reception by his kith and kin. At the head of the welcoming party was the Emir of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar. President Buhari is expected to lead members of the nation's first family on Saturday to exercise their democratic rights at Kofar Baru polling unit 003 in the rescheduled presidential and National Assembly elections. From Daura, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has commended the resilience of Nigerians as the elections opened this Saturday. The president, in a nationwide broadcast, urged the electorate to exercise their civic responsibility without hindrance. Usman Ali reports.
As you are present, I hereby ask all Nigerians whose voting...
President Muhammadu Buhari speaks to the nation ahead of the first round of 2019 general elections, beginning with presidential and National Assembly election. 73 candidates are vying for the presidential race. The president expressed delight with the way Nigerians received the shock of the election postponement last week without surrendering to complacency.
I commend all of you for your patience and peaceful conduct so far during this electoral season, and especially during this intervening week following the postponement of the February 16th elections. Many were worried and thought the worst might happen. You proved them wrong by showing that you are a great people with an abiding love for peace, democracy, and the unity of our country.
He appealed to citizens to disregard rumors of any kind, particularly security issues, saying everything has been done to ensure a peaceful atmosphere for the elections.
Do not be afraid of rumors of violence and unrest. Our security agencies have worked diligently to ensure that adequate security measures are in place. You will be able to vote in an atmosphere of openness and peace, devoid of fear from threat or intimidation.
He also hopes that Nigerians will give the electoral umpire the necessary support to discharge its duties with fairness and justice.
I believe INEC realizes the profound and weighty duty that rests upon it. We must cast aside doubt and have faith that INEC will rise to the occasion. We must believe and encourage INEC to fulfill and honor this responsibility it owes to our country.
President Buhari, while urging voters to participate fully by coming out to elect the candidate of their choice, assured the international and domestic observers of freedom to monitor the elections. Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, as the clock ticks fast to February 23 for the general elections, is the National Coalition Center set to host this historic event? Mayor Ogidi has an update.
The International Conference Center in Abuja, a magnificent edifice overlooking the radio house, molded and lying in its own lovely garden, filled with historic shady pine and well-paved driveway, has played host to many national events. This national asset has once again been selected to serve as the National Coalition Center for the 2019 presidential election. The interior is tastefully decorated to befit the engagement it has been assigned for. This conference hall can accommodate more than 150 persons with committee cutouts. Getting to the National Coalition Center has many security checks. From the main gate to the premises, combined team of security personnel will bring their intelligence to bear. Then you proceed to the entrance to the main conference hall, where another security check awaits, but with your INEC authorized tag, will serve as a ticket. The INEC Situation Room is also located at this architectural masterpiece. At the Situation Room, conferencing facilities, projectors, monitors, and the personnel to receive calls from the citizens, either complaints or commendations from all the states across the country and the Federal Capital Territory, are already keeping their eyes glued to their electronic devices. Major television stations already positioned to give Nigerians and the world a blow-by-blow account of activities during the election. So, all is now set at the National Coalition Center for the presidential elections, and these facilities will be put to use February 23rd, 2019. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Thank you, Mayor, for that update. Now, though it is this capital city of Nigeria where every resident is set to have equal rights as far as election matters are concerned, some residents of the FCT are moving to areas where their votes will count. Bosede Ebel has an update on the movement of people for this Saturday's election.
After the postponement of the general elections last week by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, based on logistic challenge, which seemed to have affected most Nigerians who traveled, the president of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Nigerian, declared 50% discounts to ease the financial stress and compensate Nigerians who will be traveling again to their various polling units around the country. I am at the Utako Park here in Abuja to see how movement is faring so far.
If you are going to Lagos, you will not tell us you are going to. You are in BBC show Ibadan. You will pay your money complete because it's not Ibadan. Your polling unit is not in Lagos. So anywhere you are going, your PBC will indicate the state you are going, then you will now boarded a vehicle that is going there.
The few around are the ones leaving because those that left have not returned.
I'm going to vote my president.
Can I see your PVC if it's close by?
We don't have to stay back and get discouraged, about what happened last week. So I'm pushed, unlike millions of Nigerians who are equally traveling as we speak. So it's just to vote, make sure my vote counts.
Where's your PVC?
It's here. I'm motivated because I feel I have a right and I can make a change, I can make a difference. So I really, really want to vote.
As we have heard from our respondents and seen so far, Nigerians are ready and eager to exercise their franchise. From the Utako Park here in Abuja, I am Boss Sede Ebul, NTA News.
And Maimuna Garba in Maiduguri captured the movement of IDPs to their local government areas for the election.
IDPs taking refuge in Maiduguri but are determined to travel all the way to their localities to exercise their franchise. I have with me an IDP by name Ajimodu Ajigin. Sir, why do you decide to travel to Damboa to go and cast your vote?
Thank you very much. As you see, these people, they are all from Damboa local government. And we decided to go to Damboa because we want to ensure that none of our people is left out. That's why we want to go and exercise our franchise in our own locality.
Despite this accident I'm having, I must go to my local government, to my polling unit, to elect my leader of my twice.
We are waiting for military escorts to accompany us to the Damboa. We are going there for election.
Came back all the way from Abuja. I'm a resident of Abuja. I came here, I went last week. The election was postponed, and I decided to stop and cast my vote to see that I'm not disfranchised.
Just like last week before the INEC pronouncement of the postponement of election, people, mostly IDPs in large number, traveled out to their localities to exercise their franchise. Consequently, this movement, as NTA News captured vehicles queued in Mulai town undergoing security checks, was well organized considering the peculiar security challenge in the state, and are provided with security cover to ensure they reach their destination safely.
We ensure that we deployed undercover to various motor parks to ensure that those people who intend to travel for the purpose of this election travel without security hitches.
The movement of voters from the state capital to the communities is taking place in all the 3 senatorial zones of the state. With the measures put in place by the security agencies, the atmosphere, it is hoped, will be peaceful. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. We'll take a break now. When we return, there will be more news on election preparations. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Now let's move to the northeast, where the Taraba State Command of the Nigerian Immigration Service has deployed about 300 of its personnel to border communities in the state to prevent foreigners from interfering with the 2019 polls. The state controller, Usman Babangida, made this known in Jalingo. Joseph Austin has details.
Many illegal routes along the Nigerian borders, especially in the northern part of the country, have led to illegal migration of people and goods. Some of the security challenges confronting the country have been attributed to these unlawful acts. As the country gets set for the 2019 general elections, the Nigerian Immigration Service is taking steps to prevent foreigners from interfering with the polls by deploying well-equipped personnel to border communities. Taraba State Command says it has already deployed about 300 of its staff.
These officers are armed. You know, the rule is you don't allow officers to go with arms at the polling units. It has to be about 300 meters away from the polling units. So we have set our own armed squads. We call it rapid response, so that they will be able to attend to any challenge posed by non-Nigerians, if at all they intend to come in or to participate in the election.
State Comptroller Usman Babangida reveals that the immigration personnel are directed to restrict movement at the borders from Friday 12 noon to Sunday 12 noon to prevent foreigners penetrating into the country to participate in the elections. For the welfare of the staff, customized food packs and first aid boxes, among other valuable materials, were distributed to them. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound 10, NTA News.
Now, all relevant security agencies have been fully mobilized for peaceful and orderly conduct of the presidential and National Assembly elections in the Federal Capital Territory, Kama reports.
And men of the Federal Road Safety Commission are as ready as other security agencies to ensure a violence-free elections.
And of course, our men are taking full part in these elections, and that is why we invited them for briefing before the elections tomorrow. If you don't have any business to be out with your vehicle, please keep it at home. Even if it is 20 kilometers trek, once 0600 hours is there, we're not allowed free movement of vehicles within the FCT to 1800 hours.
The FCT commander says the corps will combine forces with the police, Civil Defense Corps, VIO, and the fire service.
The rank and file of security personnel have been mobilized here at the Old Parade Ground to get them adequately prepared for the maintenance of law and order before, during, and after the 2019 polls. Kama, NTA News.
The Center for Crisis Communications, CCC, says in its mid-February collation and dissemination of data on crisis and crisis situation across the country, it has identified flashpoints in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, which includes Kano, Kaduna, Kwara, Kogi, Imo, and Akwa Ibom states. A statement by the Executive Secretary, Air Commodore Yusuf Anas, indicates that the CCC, which is actively involved in collecting, collating, processing, harmonizing, and disseminating information on any crisis or potential crisis situation in Nigeria, notes with concern the overheating of the polity by politicians due to the postponement of presidential, National Assembly and other elections by Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The center therefore urges all security agencies deployed for elections to be proactive and conduct themselves professionally by carrying out their duties with absolute neutrality, devoid of bias, while the media and civil society organizations should continue to monitor and keep Nigerians abreast before, during, and after the elections. The CCC works in close liaison with military, security, intelligence, and response agencies in Nigeria. The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Colonel Muhammad Abdullah, says operatives of the agency in Mbo local government area of Akwa Ibom State have arrested one Okon Basi and recovered from him 244 permanent voter cards belonging to different people and a sum of 310,000 naira. In a statement, Colonel Abdullah indicates that the operatives also arrested 120 suspected hard drug dealers found to be in possession of 51 kilograms of cannabis, 259 grams of heroin, 17 grams of cocaine, and other hard drugs. Abdullah said the suspected PVC thief had been handed over to INEC for further investigation, while others caught with hard drugs had been charged to court. Now, the Center for Transparency Advocacy, an accredited election observer group, has opened its Situation Room, thanking Nigerians for believing in the Nigeria project as they participate in the rescheduled presidential and National Assembly elections. Timothy Yusuf was at the Observer Group's Situation Room for the election in Abuja and now reports.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy has deployed already trained 1,000 domestic observers across the 774 local government areas of Nigeria for an on-the-spot and credible reports on the election day. This is part of the group's mandate to keep the public and citizens abreast with statistical information before and after the elections.
The Nigerian project is a responsibility for all of us. It is our right to vote and ensure that we put people who would represent us. When you go out to vote, also try and be as civil as possible.
Anybody who is not yet aware that Nigerian citizens are enthusiastic about this election should look at the contribution of 14 million voters into the voter register.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy believes that election management in Nigeria has greatly improved over the years. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Now let's turn to women folk. Nigerian women constitute about 49% of Nigeria's population and are playing a vital role in the social reproduction of the society. Many, however, believe that the society has not accorded them enabling political atmosphere to actively participate in decision-making compared to their male counterparts. Rabi Abdullah takes it up from here.
Recognition that gender equality in political participation is a fundamental aspect of modern democratic governance. The expectations, therefore, is that both men and women should have equal rights and opportunities to participate fully in all aspects and at all levels of political processes. In practice, however, women face challenges, and the number of women in leadership and decision-making position abysmally low. Nigeria is not left out in this scenario, as the poor participation of women persists, while the number of those in political position is growing at a slow rate.
It's just the political problem that we're experiencing, the patriarchal society, the cultural society, religious issues, then coming down to finance, and then I take it back to the political parties where they lack internal party democracy.
Some of the barriers we have seen, first is culture and religion. Culturally, women should be in the home, making food, making babies, and the rest of them.
Historical evidence is available to prove that Nigerian women have for long been playing a crucial role in the political life of the country. And this has contributed in no small measure in shaping the political system of the nation. In the Fourth Republic, which started on May 29, 1999, the Nigerian political terrain witnessed an increase in the number of women political appointees, even though they did not perform well at the polls.
So
So we've got to make concessions. And we're making concessions based on our understanding of what democracy is about. That democracy is about inclusion. Because if you take women out, democracy loses its vitality. The second is on the strength of the value that women bring to the table. Women have a lot to contribute to national development. We've got women who have intellect. We've got women who are resilient. We've got women who have skill. We've got women who have energy. Why are we not tapping into that energy and that resourcefulness that they have or they bring into public governance?
Scholars have pointed out that leadership limits are not genetically required and have absolutely nothing to do with gender. While it has been proven that countries with increased women's participation in politics and leadership positions tend to be more inclusive, egalitarian, and democratic. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
You're still watching the news on NTA International. Another break beckons. More news after a break. Don't go away. Thank you for staying tuned. Now, few hours to the elections, customers of deposit many money banks on Friday last minute withdrawals at various bank branches in Abuja ahead of the presidential and national assembly elections. Business correspondent Olayinka Ojo monitored the activities of some of the banks on Friday in some parts of Abuja metropolis. Here's what he brought back.
A visit to most commercial banks in Abuja metropolis in the early hours of Friday morning shows no queue or rush into banks or at ATMs.
I want to get little money, buy food item and keep, because the election result may come late on Monday.
Late actually, but the queue inside is not that much, so I came late, so I just got some money.
While most customers were seen making huge withdrawals that would sustain them till after the polls, others were seen transferring money through various banking channels.
I just came from the bank now and we drew some money to try to fix my car. I'm hitting the road this evening for the south, and send some money to my wife to be able to sustain while I'm gone.
Some attributed their decision to notices from money deposit banks to shut all branches latest 2 p.m. on Friday, February 22nd, 2019, ahead of the polls.
We are prepared to go and vote for tomorrow with it.
People, they will go and prepare themselves because of tomorrow is election, and some other people today, some in the evening, some in the night, they will travel to reach their village.
Some automated teller machines mounted at some bank premises that used to be under pressure from customers were Friday begging for attention. Whatever the situation, they say there's need to get the cash to enable one get something at home due to a scheduled restriction of movement by the police.
You're quite right, Olayinka. Now, Nigerians abroad remit 9 trillion naira in 2018, the highest in 13 years. Chiazalam Ekie has details of these and other developments in our business news.
Welcome to Business News. Now we begin with cheering news that Nigeria has made it to Africa's top 5 economies as of January this year, with a gross domestic product of $594.25 billion, followed by South Africa with a GDP of $341.21 billion. Next is Egypt with a GDP of $275.7 billion, and Algeria with a GDP of $219.45 billion, while Angola has a GDP of $129.7 billion. Nigeria's improved GDP growth, experts say this can be attributed to government's continuous implementation of the policy initiatives in the Economic and Recovery Growth Plan, which has so far boosted the performance of the non-oil sector. They also cited consistent improvements in other macroeconomic indicators, including inflation, capital inflows, foreign trade, among others. And global accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers says remittances by Nigerians living abroad is put at $25 billion. That is about 9 trillion naira, the highest diaspora inflow into the country in the last 13 years. The accounting giant notes that the amount translates to 83% of the federal government's budget in 2018 and 11 times the foreign direct investment. And as Africa witnessed more than 10 general elections in the continent, Nigeria's upcoming elections on Saturday has attracted worldwide attention, being the largest economy and most populated in Africa. That's the package. I'm Chiazalam Eki.
Now, the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Beecroft has arrested a wooden Cotonou boat at Akaraba seaside area of Atlas Cove, Lagos, laden with 1,400 jerry cans of 25 litres of suspected PMS valued at 5,075,000 naira. The seized boat also contains 75 horsepower outboard engines valued at 15 million naira. This arrest by the Navy represents a major achievement of its constitutional mandate and a setback to the logistics infrastructure of maritime criminals, says the commander NNS Beecroft, Rear Admiral Okon Eyo. He added that the base will continue to dominate the nation's waterways to prevent the theft of Nigeria's commonwealth. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital Calabar has signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital to train manpower in order to optimize provision of health services to the people. Now, Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu has assumed office as the new acting director of Defense Information at the Defense Headquarters. He takes over from Brigadier John Ajim. The move is part of efforts targeted at ensuring a well-motivated, trained and responsive force committed to national security. Ngufan Shaji has details.
Carrying out his final official engagement, not only as the Director of Defense Information, but also as a serving officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces, Brigadier General John Ajim hands over to Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu, the new Acting Director, Defense Information. Having risen to the peak of his career, the outgoing spokesman says this feat cannot be taken for granted.
The task of managing the image and reputation of the armed forces is very important, but quite challenging. This is because the activities and nature of military operations are one that have far-reaching implications for the nation and its citizens.
Reminding the media and public relations professionals that publicity has often helped fuel acts of terrorism, the new Acting Director of Defense Information, Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu, says this trend must not be allowed to thrive as it is a threat to national development.
It is therefore pertinent to work hands in gloves to deny our common adversary the oxygen of publicity and crush the grandiose ego of terrorism.
He further reiterated that no military operation can truly succeed without the media and public support. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps says it is ready to synergize with other security agencies on capacity building of its officers. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi reiterated this at a meeting with the Commandant, Army War College, Major General Charles Ofoche. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
Though with different uniforms and roles, the connection here is the security of lives. With this front, the synergy is on ways of building the capacity of their staff, as well as collaboration for effective service delivery, especially towards nation building.
Every person, every individual should participate in nation building. And we all have our own spheres that we handle and cope with. And I believe that with more collaboration, most of the issues we face daily can be better addressed.
I would believe that with this capacity building, the Army War College, I believe we should have a module for training for the participants so that they can know something about the uniform licensing scheme, on the driver's license, on the number plates, on the signage. We have a lot of officers who can come and deliver the lecture so that you can incorporate this into your modules so that the participant can know how do you check for stolen vehicles, how do you check for valid driver's license.
Of utmost importance to the Army Commandant is the need to constantly review the Nigerian Highway Code, and the Corps Marshal assured that from July this year, all federal roads will be installed with appropriate codes. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. It's time to take another break. We will be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Exotic land of rainbow, a giant in the sun, rich in human and natural resources, a land of cultural diversity for tourists' appreciation. Nigeria occupies 923,766 square kilometers, accommodating over 250 indigenous languages. It is a wonderful environment for leisure and business. Nigeria, land of milk and honey, a paradise for tourists.
This is where the news begins. Every breaking news and developments on the African continent.
Welcome to NTA International News. State House correspondent Hamza Musa.
In-depth news analysis and professional perspectives on all sides of the story.
Experts say the issue of security
national energies and resources must be mobilized to promote democracy.
Every day on NTA International, we take you inside Africa and the world.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Now, as international donor agencies continue to render assistance to victims of Boko Haram in the northeast, the King Salman Humanitarian Agency of Saudi Arabia has joined other donors with the donation of food items worth 3 billion naira. The leader of the Saudi delegation, Nasser Al-Subaib, says the Saudi Crown Prince is touched by the plight of the IDPs. Ilyasu Aliyakub reports.
The food items include 62,686 kilograms each of rice and beans, plus more than 60,000 cartons of assorted condiments, which were distributed in 19 IDP camps in rice and beans. IDP camps in Yobe State. The first phase of the distribution commenced last year, November. The IDPs were full of gratitude to King Salman of Saudi Arabia for identifying with their plight.
It's a very wonderful issue and it's a very wonderful matter. We're even surprised to the extra limits.
Minister of Defense Mansour Dang Ali launched the distribution in Maiduguri, supported by Saudi Arabian Ambassador to Nigeria Adnan bin Mahmoud Bostaji, Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima, Director General of NEMA Mustafa Mehajja, among other government functionaries.
The two countries have continued to collaborate in various areas of mutual benefit and interest, including military relationship.
We are one country, one brother. All Nigerian people, one brother.
I want to put it on record that the support from the King Salman Humanitarian and Relief Organization will inshallah be judiciously utilized for the common good of our people.
These items will be distributed directly to the affected people through combined effort of SEMA, NEMA, and other critical stakeholders.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, adopted its door-to-door method of distribution to reach actual beneficiaries directly. The second phase of the distribution is built to commence on the 4th of March 2019. From Maiduguri, Borno State, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu.
Next is news from other parts of the globe with Justin Bem as our guide.
Hello and welcome. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from Florida on Thursday night, carrying Israel's first lunar lander on a mission that, if successful, will make the Jewish state the fourth nation to achieve a controlled touchdown on the moon's surface. Reports say the unmanned robotic lander, dubbed Bereshit, Hebrew for the biblical phrase, in the beginning, soared into space from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at about 1:45 GMT Friday, atop the 23-story tall rocket. The rocket, which is the size of a dishwashing machine, is one of 3 sets of cargo carried aloft by the Falcon 9, part of the private rocket fleet of billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk's California-based company SpaceX. And from Africa comes a report that an international rights group has urged Libyan strongman self-styled army to lift its siege inside an eastern Mediterranean city where civilians have been trapped. Human Rights Watch said on Friday that over the past 2 weeks, General Khalifa Haftar's forces have been carrying out arbitrary arrests in Derna and laying siege on its old city. Reports have it that it's unclear how many civilians are trapped in the old city. In another development, Venezuela's embattled President Nicolas Maduro has ordered the closure of the border with Brazil amid a row over foreign humanitarian aid. Reports have it that the leftist leader went on television to say he was also considering shutting the border with Colombia to stop the opposition from bringing in relief. Opposition leader Juan Guaido is leading a convoy from the capital, Caracas, to the Colombian border. And that's it from this segment.
Let's talk sports now. Nigeria Customs women's volleyball team fine-tuned plans for African Club Championship with Chelsea against Dynamo Kiev in Europe League round of 16 tie. Amanzi Marcos has more on sports update.